Thank you, everyone. Those of you who have been patiently watching your clocks are going to notice that it's 8:30, our original end time. If it's all right with everybody up here, we're going to try and squeeze in a few more questions. We know another half hour. Is that all right? If you have to leave, it's okay. No problem. We're glad you came. If you do leave and want to get either email or snail mail from us, please sign the mailing list on the way out. And I'd encourage the candidates to try and make the answers snappy. We'll try and get through as many of these as we can. Starting with Jeanette, we have a question from Joe Klein. What should be done with the corporate tax?
Well, it's not a newsflash to you that a corporation doesn't pay taxes. You, the consumer, pay those taxes. So anytime we say we're going to put new taxes on big business and they have deep pockets, you and I are the ones that are always bearing those costs. So when we start talking about we need less government, less taxes, and less regulations, it needs to start on corporations because those are just getting passed on to you. When we talked about cap and trade earlier and that impacting our energy costs, trust me, the corporations aren't paying that. They're going to be passing that cost on to you. So if we want to look at what we need to do with our tax structure overall, we need less taxes. We need to be putting those monies into the pockets of business owners so that they're able to reinvest, so they're able to add jobs, so that they're able to grow the economy. And we need to scale those back, and we need to get that money where it's actually benefiting our economy.
I've worked for a few businesses, but I've never worked for one that had a printing press down the basement where they were printing off their own money so that they could pay their taxes. Every penny comes from you. It's kind of like I heard Fred Thompson say that they're not going to tax you, they're going to tax the other side of the water out of the bucket. So everything comes to you. What we need to do is we need to lower taxes. We need to lower it on businesses. When it's more financially better for a business to go overseas and pay import tax than it is to pay tax here in America, something's wrong with that issue. If we reduce the taxes on businesses, what do you think businesses are going to do with that money? You think they're going to take a bath in the coins like Scrooge McDuck always did, right? No, they're going to invest it in their business. They're going to hire people. They're going to pay for advertisement. They're going to expand their business. See, this is the key to creating jobs. Getting government out of the way so that you can help create jobs.
Well, I mentioned earlier about tax and productivity, and that's what we're doing once again. The question was on corporate tax. We have the second highest corporate tax in the industrialized world. Second highest. And now we're adding more mandates and regulation. It's no wonder people go offshore. And then remember we talk about cap and trade, which Act Space voted for. And what does that do? It increases our energy costs. Not just for those at home, it just about doubles it for those of us, according to Barack Obama's official reports. But it makes any energy-intensive industry less competitive in the United States. We've seen countries like Ireland and other countries where they lowered their corporate tax, and the immediate response was the corporations invested more in producing, they hired more people, the economy began to boom. We need to lower our taxes. And I think you'll see a response from those people who incidentally are very smart people. They're very smart people and they know how to avoid those taxes. They know how to go offshore and they know how to do different things to get around it. And they have attorneys that help them with it. It's not that they want to do that. It's just that we force them into that situation. So I support lowering our corporate tax and I think you'll see our economy boom as we do that. Along with reducing regulation and also we'll see the consumers begin to spend and have more confidence. Thanks.
I'll try to be short and I won't be redundant. We're in a mess tax-wise. My wife and I got our first grandbaby on October 13th. And our child's going to be born with $47,000 with tax debt, even right now. So when we talk about the corporate tax, we have got to cut the size of government. We have got to... come on, folks. It's common sense, and we're all going to be tax cutters. Again, for the interest of time, let's get some common sense back in Washington.
Yeah, there's not going to be any difference in the interest up here, but we have to cut taxes, and Fred was right. We do have the second highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world. And what we need to do with our tax policy, we need to stop taxing income and capital, because that's penalizing productivity. And we need to start, for taxes we have to have tax sales, services and consumption, and keep the rates as low as possible. When you tax services and consumption, then what you do is you broaden the tax base. When you broaden the tax base, you can keep the rates as low as possible. And when they're equitable, people are you're not going to have all this enforcement actions, because people are going to pay their fair share. Most people, I'm confident of that. And as long as they're low rate and equitable, and then you'll see all that money that was going to the government goes back into these businesses, small, medium-sized businesses, S corps, LLCs, and big C corps. And they invest in their businesses, they grow their businesses, and they create jobs. And that's what gets us out of this mess, and that's what gets this country moving again.
Also, of course, believe that we have to greatly decrease corporate taxes in America. As has been said, we are the second largest taxing country on corporate tax. Japan is actually the largest, if anybody's interested in that information. But, you know, one of the things that has to be considered, you know how much tax that we pay? You know, and we've said this, when we tax corporations, we get taxed, it's you and I. And so this isn't something we can talk about. This isn't something, of course, the country, because of the size of the government, we've got to increase the government, but we have to cut corporate taxes. I'm actually not just for lowering taxes. I'm one of the candidates that feels very strongly that we need absolute overhaul and reform in an entire tax system. I don't think we can just lower taxes and still expect corporations to have to spend, some of them, millions of dollars hiring people to sit through all these different things that they can do and can't do and should do and shouldn't do and would do or would do. What if we just had a flat tax for corporations and just said, here's how much corporations pay, real easy, and get it done with. And then it would obviously increase jobs and increase productivity and increase and strengthen our economy and other things. So as we all agree, we absolutely have to greatly decrease corporate tax in America.
This one goes right along with that. From James Wiley, what do you think of the fair tax, and what will it do to fix the economy and jobs? We'll start with Bill.
Well, I think the fair tax is an awesome idea, because our tax system now goes after specific people. See, it tries to take from some people and give to other people, because it's all about control. And that's what the cap and trade energy tax is about. The federal government wants the same right to do to businesses what they do to you. See, because they say, well, you make a little more, so we're going to take it from you, we're going to give it to this person. And, I work at a place where I see people come in every year with $7,000 to $9,000 income tax checks to people that make less than $10,000 a year. Talk about how they just got their income tax refund. Now, usually it's refund, but you have to pay. But see, the government's taking it from you and give it to somebody else. That's what the cap and trade really, the secret of the cap and trade is they want to do the same thing with businesses. They want to be able to take from this business and put it in that business, so that the federal government decides if you succeed or if you make it or if you struggle. They want to decide if your business succeeds, your business struggles. It's all about control. We've got to get government control out of our lives.